everyone, welcome back to Mimi Leaks. Today I'll dive into the early life and young adulthood of Sean Combs, summarizing his upbringing and then looking at his time in college at Howard University. And while some peers have fond memories of him, others recall and remember in detail his fits of rage and anger, telling Rolling Stone their recollections in an article called Bad Boy for Life. So there's a lot to cover. Let's get started, and be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell for more. Sean John Combs was born in the Harlem district of New York on November 4th, 1969. His father, Melvin Earl Combs, was shot to death at 33 in 1972 while sitting in his car in Central Park West, allegedly during a drug deal gone wrong. Melvin, a former soldier in the U.S. Air Force, had connections with notorious New York drug dealer Frank Lucas. Diddy called his father, Melvin, a hustler, and in Diddy's words, his father's experiences taught him early in life that there's only two ways out of that dead-end jail. It made me work even harder. After his dad's death, Diddy was raised by his mother and widow, Janice Combs, in Mount Vernon, New York. His upbringing in a single-parent household in a tough neighborhood shaped his resilience. They were practicing Catholics, and Combs was an altar boy. He completed his education at Mount St. Michael's Academy, an all-boys Catholic institution, in 1987. Even though he moved into the suburbs, he still straddled two worlds, one as a defensive back at his Catholic high school, and the other as a youth immersed in hip-hop culture, riding a train into the city. Combs shared that he earned the nickname Puff or Puffy as a kid because he would huff and puff when he got upset. As Complex writes, Combs would so identify with this nickname that in his professional life it would appear occasionally in music credits at this time, like the 1994 remix of Jade's Every Day of the Week, as well as Notorious B.I.G.'s 1994 debut, Ready to Die. Combs attended Howard University following high school, where he majored in business. According to many, Combs was flamboyant and boisterous, and displayed his dance skills in front of the school cafeteria and was often seen driving his convertible, his music blasting for all to hear. In his interview for Inside the Actors Studio, Combs says that on his third day at Howard, he decided his job would be Director of Entertainment for the university. As Director of Entertainment, partying appeared to be the top priority. He sold tickets for entry into his own parties, which were known to be rowdy and which people called legendary. According to the book Bad Boy, the influence of Sean Puffy Combs in the music industry, which I think came out in 2001, he soon had an entourage, but he wanted more. During this period, he was so ambitious that he later described himself as savage. He was single-minded about making history and earning his fortune. Combs even found ways to sell a person's experience right back to themselves, notably creating collages of magazine and newspaper articles after an incident where a group of rebellious students took over an administrative building. What did he do with those collages? Well, he turned them into poster-sized collages and sold them to the same revolutionary students that had caused the incident. And he knew he wanted more. To quote him, "I knew I didn't want to just get a degree. Like, I was reaching to be the greatest stockbroker or the greatest lawyer. I had made up my mind that I was going to be successful, a multimillionaire." This entrepreneurial spirit would provide useful for Diddy, forming many connections with future label execs and producers like Harvey Pierre and Mark Pitts. Another music executive, a future music executive and former classmate, friend and collaborator Derek D. Angeletti recalls his first experiences and impressions of Combs and his ability to cater to voids in the marketplace, and by his drive to earn money, his hustle. To quote Angeletti, quote, "When Puffy came, he was a very flashy guy. He was always out at the clubs, and young girls loved him. He'd be in the middle of the floor, doing all the new dances, and his style of dress was a little more colorful, bolder. Everyone took notice of this cool, overconfident young dude. I was DJing at the time, and one night he came up to me and said, 'I'd like to throw a party with you. You're pretty popular,'" unquote. For their first event, they shot for the stars. Combs reached out to 21-year-old Heavy D. Mount Vernon-based rapper who recorded for Uptown Records. Puffy attempted his best at luring Heavy with his interest in music, his ambition, and his constant flattery, and it paid off when Heavy accepted the invite. Combs included Heavy's name on promotional materials, which led to others like Slick Rick, Doug E. Fresh, and R&B group Guy appearing at the party. And guess what? Every celebrity appeared. One source said, "And ever since that first party, everyone made it a point to go to Puff's parties." Angeletti saw Combs as someone who could profit from even, quote, "a crazy situation," unquote. Another executive, Shantae Page, formerly with Universal Motown Record Group, would recall positive experiences with Combs at Howard, calling his parties iconic and leaving an impression of a once-in-a-lifetime type of vibe. Page called him a go-getter from the start and someone who was always in the know. But other peers of Combs at Howard recalled different experiences that were dark, angry, hateful, downright scary, according to a Rolling Stone article from this year called Bad Boy for Life. And in it, classmates and women requesting to remain anonymous detail previously unreported incidents involving unwanted touching and fits of rage. And there's a lot to this article, but one woman says she kept as far away as possible from Combs and that he caressed her back without warning and asked her if she'd be willing to meet up with one of his friends. Another peer describes a time that he got really angry and said he flew off the handle, and that's a quote, after she objected to him cutting in a cafeteria line. And reading from this article, a third former student recalls how the future mogul would tap on the window of an English class to get a girlfriend to ditch. The visits became noticeably unwelcome, the classmate tells the Rolling Stone. She would tense up when Combs appeared. The student, who sat next to the woman in class, recalls, "He just had a weird control thing. I felt like she was fearful." Combs appears to have struggled with his anger and managing it from his childhood into his adulthood, and the same student, also anonymous for fear of retaliation, apparently got the sense that something was off with Puffy, her concerns being validated, when one day, Combs appeared outside the school's dorm and acted belligerently, in an effort to get his girlfriend to come outside, or in his reaction perhaps that she wouldn't do so. Back to the Rolling Stone article, the classmate says the other women soon began, running through the halls, knocking on doors in a panic. They were sounding the alarm that Combs, known by his nickname as Puff, was attacking the young woman outside, she recalls. "Puff was out here acting crazy. He's beating her," the fellow student said, according to the classmate. "He screamed and hollered and acted a stone fool until she came downstairs," another Howard student who witnessed the alleged attack tells Rolling Stones. She says Combs used what appeared to be a belt to strike the young woman all over the place. Speaking on the condition of anonymity due to the sensitive nature of the incident, the witness said Combs appeared super angry and was screaming at the top of his lungs. She says he whooped her butt, like he really whooped her butt. The witness says the woman was clearly terrorized. She was trying to defend herself a little bit. She was crying, and we were telling him, "Get off of her." We were screaming for her. A third source also recalled the alleged assault to the Rolling Stone. The woman at the center of the alleged attack declined comment, and obvious reasons so, I would say. Of his time at Howard, Combs would say, quote, "I was serious about my studies in the beginning, but my mind was moving too fast for it. My dreams were bigger. I was like, 4 years? That's holding me back. I can't wait that. I've got to get my hustle on now," unquote. For now, we're going to leave it here. Just wanted to detail a bit on Howard University, since more about Diddy's past clearly is coming to light, and should. So yeah, with that, please subscribe, please like the channel, feel free to share, please credit me if you do, but I hope you guys found this entertaining, useful, informative, what have you, and thank you for your time. I really appreciate you guys tuning in, okay? Stay safe.